FlossTube. I'm Catherine, the Needleberry Stitcher. Today is Saturday, April 1st, and I have some friends here with me. You'll probably hear them in the background. They like to shake their collars. I have my two dogs, Cooper and Zoe, so they're joining me today. I usually put them in another room or somewhere else because of the noise they make in the background, but the house is empty today, and I thought I would like to have my dogs with me. So if you hear them shaking their collars in the background, I apologize for the noise. We have the little silencers on their tags, but they work marginally well. I wouldn't say they work great, especially in the middle of the night. I hear them, so they're kind of working. Would you like to meet them? I think some of you, if you've seen older videos on my channel, you've probably met my black dog Cooper, but let me show him to you again. Bear with me while I pick him up. He kind of tends to like go when I try and pick him up, so he'll be a little stiff. Hold on. Come here, Cooper. Baby, come here. Here's a good boy. Oh yeah, here's my good baby. Here we go. There's Cooper. Hi. Yeah, you want to look up at the camera? Look up there. Yeah, those are all my FlossTube friends. And they wanted to meet you. Yeah. He's doing the thing again. Sorry. I have to put him down. So, my dog you haven't met yet is Zoe, and she is so much easier to pick up, and she's a little princess. Although today she's probably going to prove me wrong, but this is Zoe. You want to look up here? Look up there. Look. Look up. Look. Can you look at the people? Can you look at the people? Yeah. They wanted to meet you. She's like, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing, Mom? Yeah, so those are my two fur babies, and I thought after all this time for you to meet them, be introduced to them. Yeah, they're 10 years old, and they're from the same litter, although they look nothing alike, but they have the same, they're roughly the same size. Cooper's a little chunkier because he likes to eat. He gets the same number of treats, but he tries to steal Zoe's treats, and she kind of doesn't care about food too much, so sometimes he gets a few extras. But anyway, so that is my introduction to my puppies and to my video. So those of you who have been with me before, you've seen my videos, welcome back. Thanks for joining me. And if you're new watching my channel, thanks for checking me out, and hopefully you find something here today that is interesting. If nothing else, I mean, I work on a whole lot of different projects, different types of projects. I have Mirabilia Fancy Ladies, which I sadly have very few finishes. I have tons of starts and very few finishes on those, but they're such a joy to work on. If you're a Mirabilia fan, nor a Corbett fan, you know it's just, when you're working on it, it feels like you're transported to another place. But that's kind of cross stitch in general, right? I think it takes us to another place where we're not, kind of, for me anyway, it takes my thoughts to a place of just, I don't know, like castles and dragons, and it just transports you to another place. So the worries of the day, or the worries of our earthly toils and whatever are anyway, you know what I'm saying, and I'm saying it like really badly, so I'm not going to say it anymore. So I'm going to show you a couple more things that I just are near and dear to me, and I want to show them to you. They're two finishes that my mom did. One of them is a cross stitch that she did for me when my husband and I got married. She started it when we got engaged, but it took her a couple of years to finish it, but it became a very beautiful treasure that we have hanging in our house. So I'll show you that one first. So I'll show it to you. I have to cover, the name is on the top, and I didn't realize that, but anyway, it says our last name, and then it says home. And it's not that I'm like terribly sensitive about my name, it's just, I don't know, I'm rather private on the internet. I don't do much on Facebook or socials. I love Instagram, but I'm signed in on a lot of my socials under my Needleberry Stitcher. I don't know, I think names are kind of private. Not that I would, to those of you who I'm going to meet in person at the Stitch North, and to anyone who I've already met in person, or people that I'm corresponding with on a regular basis, no problems. I just, for those people who are just like stopping in and like checking out my videos, and they don't, I don't know, there's trolls out there who are just looking for freebies, and sometimes I do giveaways, so I just don't want my name out there for just anybody. Only for all you special people who watch me regularly. So, and all you new people, I hope you watch me regularly. I've had coffee today, so yes, I'm a little chatty. I'm back to my chatty normal videos. The last one was a little sad, and so but I'm back. Like I'm good. I'm in a good place. But I'm showing you something, and I better continue. So this was something that my mom made. She finished it. I was married in 1999, and she finished it and signed her initials at the bottom in 2003. So she spent about 4 years on it. So, and at the bottom, and it says, "A house full of happiness and hearts full of love." So she found the pattern. It was originally a kit, but when she found the pattern, she loved the pattern, but it didn't come with all the kit materials. I think whoever had stitched it before, they were just selling the pattern. So she chose all of her own colors for this. It's one of a kind. And I'll see if I can hold it back a little further, but anyway. So lots of love went into this, and it's a treasured, has a treasured spot on my wall in my house. And so the other thing I want to show you is actually something that she started when she was very young. It's a needlepoint, and she started out when she was young doing needlepoint, and then over the years transitioned over into doing cross stitch. For a while she did both at the same time, and then toward the end of her stitching days, she was mostly just doing cross stitch and not needlepoint. But she did two needle points that she saved. One she started when she was pregnant with my brother, and the other one she started when she was pregnant with me. And those two she's saved and had framed. And so when I was home to her funeral in January, my dad was very, he was very encouraging of me to try and bring it back with me if I could, the one that she had made for me. And what's so beautiful about it is that it hung in her home my whole childhood, and like ever since she finished it. She finished it just after she had me. So it's been something that I have seen hanging in her home my whole life. So for me to have this treasure, she wanted me to have it, and she wanted my brother to have his, and she wanted me to have the one she made for me. So to have it here, I couldn't bring the frame, which is sad, because I had carry-on when I came back. So I actually I took it out of the frame and I hand carried it back with me on the plane. And the airlines were very kind about it. They were very gentle with it. They found a special spot, because I couldn't have it they wouldn't let me have it in my lap or at my feet. Like I had it all wrapped up and bubble wrapped and protected, but they wouldn't let me have it with me in my seat. But they like very carefully and gently put it like in places that luggage don't go, so it wasn't going to get knocked or bumped or anything. So very kind. So I couldn't bring the frame back, but my next trip to visit my dad, I plan to bring my bigger suitcase, and I'm hoping I can fit the frame in and bring it, because he held on to the frame. I just couldn't fit it in my carry-on bag on the way back. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to show it to you. It's called Red Boy. And so this is a kit from the 1970s. This is when she bought it and worked on it, and it took her, I'm not sure how many years. She told me one time how long it took her. I think it was probably 2 or 3 years on and off. I mean, she had 2 toddlers at the time, so she wasn't working on it regularly, but it's absolutely gorgeous. The colors, she did petty point for the skin, 1/1. And just the colors in there are so beautiful and vibrant. I can imagine her working on it and enjoying it. But she always wanted this as a prominent spot in her living room and in her house. And I mean, so many times she's like, "You'll have this one day. That I want this. I want you to have this." And so it's bittersweet, you know, the moment where you find out, okay, it's something that's going to hang in my house means that I don't have her anymore, but I have something of her. So anyway. Isn't it beautiful? She was a beautiful stitcher. So that is another treasure I'm going to have hanging in I'm probably going to have it hanging here in my craft room, I think, at least for now. I don't know. Right now it's kind of like propped up on a shelf in my living room, so I can look at it every day, which I like, but I don't know if I have a really good spot. I don't know. That's stuff to be figured out. Anyway, thank you for letting me show you those treasures. Now into my stitching. I only worked on 2 things in March. And some of you probably know what the first one is if you watched my last video, because I said this was the only thing I was going to work on in the month of March, but then I changed my mind and worked on something else. So the first thing, I'll put in a picture of what it is. It's called Red's Resting Place. I also have it on magnets. I put all of my projects on little magnets, and I have a little whiteboard that I was going to do WIPCO this year, and you know, my plans never really ever follow through. But so I put everything on magnets, and it's easier to sort through these little magnet things and plan out what I'm going to work on, or just like dream about what I'm going to work on, than it is actually pulling out the bags and pulling out. So these little magnets are terrible. They fall off all the time. Anytime they fall off, I just put a little bit of Gorilla Glue? Monster Glue. It's not Monster Glue. Gorilla Glue on the back. And so then this one won't come off next time because it's got Gorilla Glue. But the rest of them, whenever they peel off, I just put that on. But so I like these little magnets. I got them on Amazon. And I put the name of them on there too, because a lot of times when I'm going through, I'm like, oh, I love that, but why can't I remember the name? Because, you know, you get to that age where you don't remember anything anymore. And so, okay, you've seen what it looks like. I'll put a picture of where it was the last time I worked on it. And you're not going to see a lot of progress because I haven't worked on it. Well, I worked on it a little bit. I finished, I think, since the last time I showed you, I think I might have finished the roof. Maybe. I mean, it hasn't been that long since my last video, but I still can't remember. But you'll see. I'll put the side-by-side comparison here if I can. So it's coming along. It's a Stony Creek pattern. I love Stony Creek. I've always loved Stony Creek. I've stitched quite a few over the years and given them as gifts. One in particular I wish I'd never given away. I love that I love it because of the person I gave it to. It meant a lot at the time. It was someone very, you know, people come and go through your life, and so I had someone who came into my life when I was in high school, and his mom was very special to me, so I gave it to her, and so she has it. But I don't know. Okay, crazy things, because I hadn't seen her in, when did I go to high school? 30 years? I hadn't seen her since I graduated from high school. And she was at my mom's funeral, and I saw her, and I think out of everybody I saw at my mom's funeral, when I saw her, my eyes just lit up, because her and my mom were friends. They went to the same church. And so our families knew each other, but my parents had moved away. So I just hadn't kept in touch all the years, but just to see her, it takes you back, right? It just takes you back to that time in your life. But lately I've been thinking about that one that I made for her. It was a Stony Creek, and it was from a book of musical instruments. I can't remember the name of the book. I have it in my bin. I'm not going to go look for it, but essentially it has like musical instruments like flutes and pianos, and but there was one that was a musical note. I'll see if I can find the picture. It was so pretty, but it was a musical note, and you could either stitch it in green or brown, and I stitched it in green, and it had a little hummingbird and some flowers, and honestly, that's one that I thought one day I would stitch again. So anyway, all to say that I love Stony Creek. However, this one, it's for my dad. He specifically said that he wanted a design with a red truck, and we picked this pattern out together. I don't know why I'm having a hard time with this. Like, I keep thinking, is it the fabric? And it's a great fabric. I honestly think it's, what is it? I have it, oh, it's upstairs. I'll put it in on the screen if I can, or in the notes or description or whatever. I think it's French, is it Country Mocha? I think it's Country Mocha. French Country Mocha, whatever the popular one is. And I love it, but I don't know why. I'm just not in my groove on this one. There's a decent amount of block stitching, which is great, but not too much. Not where you're doing like hundreds of rows or hundreds of stitches all together in a block. But there's enough that, you know, you put your thread on the needle and you stitch and you get to the end of your thread and you've gotten to the end of a block and it's like, it just works out perfectly. It's like, I love patterns like that, where you just have enough stitches, but you're not like constantly like, do I throw the thread away? There's enough I could use it again. But yeah, the dilemma of like, keep the thread or throw the thread away. With DMC, I'm fairly liberal with my usage of it. I kind of, I'm not miserly with my thread, but I shouldn't say, but it's not always, because sometimes I am miserly with my thread. I guess it just depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm just in a, like, just, okay, done, toss it. And other times I'm like, ooh, I have enough, I can use this again. I'll save it and put it back on. Just kind of silly, but anyway, it's how my brain works sometimes. So anyway, I really want to get this one done. I don't have a deadline on it. Initially, my brain started going to like, oh, I have to have it done for Father's Day, or oh, I have to have it done for the next time I visit my dad. And then I realized I'm going to see my dad in May. That's not going to happen. So then I'm like, oh, I have to have it done for Christmas. And you know how your brain goes through all the, I have to have it done by, and I just stopped doing that. Like, no, I'll get it done when I get it done. I'm going to make it a focus piece. I'm going to stitch on it every month, and I'm going to get it done when I get it done. My dad knows I'm working on it, and I think just the fact that he knows I'm working on it is probably just as valuable to him, that I think of him and that I care for him, than if he receives the actual finished thing. So it's just the relationship we have. We just, very loving family. I've been very blessed with the people in my life. So that is Red's resting place. And I have stats on it. I'll tell you the stats on it. All right, in March, I worked on it for a total of 7 days, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I only did any cross stitch for 11 days in March. I was not feeling like stitching. It was later in the month where I started picking it up and stitching more, and now I'm like obsessed with stitching again, so I have my stitchy bug back, yay. So 7 days that I worked on it, I did 870 stitches over 7 days. See, that doesn't seem like a lot to me. Like a lot of times, so, oh no, okay, never mind. So it says I only worked on it for 6 hours. And by the way, I'm using Brian Blitz Stitch, his app called Cross Stitch Journal, and absolutely love it. Every time I work on something, you can go to a list of your projects. You can just pull up a list of projects, and you can just, I'll show you, you can like pull it to the side if it lets me, and then you can just hit the timer and just start stitching. And then when you're done, you do the same thing, you swipe it and then you stop stitching, and it captures how long you stitched. And then after you, when you go to stop stitching, it'll prompt you and say, do you want to put in the number of stitches that you stitched? So I typically don't do it, well, how do I do it? So if I'm working on a full coverage and Pattern Keeper is tracking my stitching, number of stitches that I do, I might work on it like 2 or 3 sessions on a Saturday. So I'll maybe work on it for an hour in the morning, or maybe an hour in the afternoon, and then a couple hours at night, or I don't know, it sounds like a lot of stitching, but yes, I do stitch that way sometimes. So sometimes if I know I'm going to stitch later in the day, I don't put the number of stitches I did in the session, because Pattern Keeper only tracks it for that day. So I can't do it by like this hour or that hour. By the end of the day, it's still the total for that day. So I'll just wait till the last, like when I'm going to bed. I usually stitch a little bit before I go to bed. And in that last session, I'll look at Pattern Keeper and I'll say, okay, how many stitches did I do today? So I'll just put the number of stitches in the app the last time I record my time that day. If I'm working on something else where I'm tracking stitches on paper, I'll just do it whenever I try to just count at the end of the day if I've tracked it for that day, and then I'll just like mark off on the page. So so I guess I do it very similarly for all of my stitching. It's the last time I stitch for the day, usually in the evening, I'll go in and put in how many stitches when I stop recording, I stop the timer. So absolutely love the app, gives so many statistics. I'm all over the place again. But if I go back to March, so I did 7 days on Red's resting place, 870 stitches, and a total of 6 hours that I worked on it. So not a lot, but I think I'll be able to pull it out more probably in April. My goal is, if I got 1,000 stitches a month minimum, I think that'll be good. And right now, if I look at where it's at, because I am tracking. Even though it's a paper pattern, I'm still marking off, like, if I finish a block of 100 stitches, I'll like use a black Sharpie and I'll outline the box and put a little strike through it, and so I know that I've counted that block when it's done. So it looks like let's see, I have finished 3,730 stitches on it for a total of 17.2% complete. It says I have just under 18,000 stitches left, and it's projecting a finish date at my current pace. It's projecting a finish date of May 21st. So, but I'm not going to work on that one, only that one. So I know that, you know, the date's eventually going to like continue to push out, but it's a good pace. As long as I would love to use that finish date feature and make sure that I still can get it done within this year, 2023. So if the date starts going out further and further, I'm starting to get to like October, November, I'm probably going to pump up the brakes. Okay, that was dumb. I'm going to hit the throttle and work on it a little faster. Oh my gosh. Oh, skunk. That's what me and my dad are saying lately. It's like, oh, skunk, when something goes bad. And my husband's texting me, asking me what kind of toilet bowl cleaner that I need from the store. I'll pause here because he's gonna want to know right now, so hold. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Okay, my next thing that I worked on, the only other thing that I worked on in March was, can you guess? It's a favorite of mine, and I know some of you have commented too, that you love seeing the progress on it. I pulled out Beauty and the Beast, which is a Tilton Crafts pattern, and I'm stitching it on 25 count even weave, which is my favorite. It's 25 count Lugana for a full coverage piece is my favorite. And it's Beauty and the Beast 2019. Is it 2019? It actually has a name, because there's the classic Beauty and the Beast that Daniel Kordek did artwork for, and then he did an artwork for the newer, the, what do you call it, where it's like the real people, but why, I can't remember. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, where it was like real people instead of cartoons. And this is the more modern, like the latest one. And I thought it was Beauty and the Beast 2018 or something like that, or 2017. Maybe it's 2017. Anyway, not important, but I showed you a picture already, but I have it on my little magnet so that I can put it on my board and see what I'm working on. And I'm really happy with some progress that I got on it. It's not a lot, because I've only worked on it 4 days since the last time that I showed it. Did I show it last month? I might have showed it to you. I think I might have showed it to you in my last video, because I had pulled it out. So I'm not going to completely unroll it, but I'll unroll a little bit so you can at least see the faces. I think I did show it to you, so I'll have a picture up. I'll show you where it was the last time I showed you, which I think was my last video. And I'll show you where it is now. So I've been working over here on this side, and right here is where the rose is going to go. So the red rose will be here, and then this is one of the green petals on her rose, and I'm kind of stitching around it right now because I think it will be fun to see what it looks like maybe just fill it in later, knowing that that's going to be really fun working with the beautiful reds and greens, because right now I'm doing so much blue. And the blue background, I love working with blue. I think there was a time where I thought, man, I'm going to get really tired of working with blue, but I don't mind it. There's enough of the grays and different shades of blue in there. It's nice. I don't mind it. So I'm thinking I might just stitch all around, like up here. I started coming up here and filling in toward her face, and maybe like fill in here and just like stitch around the bottom of the flower and then come back and fill it in later. That might be kind of fun. So anyway, this, yes, one of my favorite pieces to work on. And I have stats for that one too. Pull up my phone. All right. For March, I only worked on it for 4 days, and it's just been the last 4 days, like literally yesterday and the 3 days before that I worked on it. a little bit in the evenings every day. And because I was taking a break from Red's resting place, because I think that's a piece I'll be able to go to and work on for a few days, but then I'm going to need a break. And I did 2,059 stitches over the 4 days. I'm trying to average 500 stitches a day with that one when I work on it. If I could do 500 stitches in a day, I will get it done this year. I'll get it done before my birthday this summer, according to the app. But I don't know if I can consistently do 500 stitches a day, because then if I can get 500 stitches in a day, especially when I work full time and I'm only stitching in the evenings during the week, if I can do that, then I won't be able to work on anything else, because that's probably about all I could get done in an evening. So anyway, just telling you my thoughts. And I did a total of 10 hours, or just a little bit under 10 hours over 4 days. Yes, I had evenings to stitch this week, which was wonderful. Work is starting to, I'm starting to settle in now. It's been 3 months since I've been at my new job. And even with all the stuff that went on in January, and we were away for, a short trip, and with everything, I feel like I'm settling in there. People are great. My boss is amazing. And the work I'm doing is really fun. It's a combination of strategy and building out a department and a function of something I've never done before. And robotic process automation, RPA. I'm working with a software called UiPath, and I'm building it's with bot technology. I'm not fully into AI yet, but that's on the roadmap for me to be able to actually start using the RPA software, and yeah, so anyway, I'm nerding out right now. So, which is why I like my job. It's technical, it's coding, and it's, but it's not so, you can build stuff very quickly, but I'm so excited because yesterday was a big day. I'm only 3 months in, and we launched our first bot, and I had some tasks that were ready and scripted for it to do. So my bot is live, and my bot has work to do, and so it's really exciting. Felt like celebrating yesterday, but I didn't have anyone to celebrate with because I was working from home. But everyone at work is very excited about it. So things are going well at work. So all to say that I have more time in the evenings because my brain is able to say, okay, I'm done work when I'm done work for the day, and I'm not consumed with oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? And am I ever going to know what this job is? And am I ever going to feel comfortable? And so the more I'm meeting people, the more I'm able to just let go at the end of the day, and my day is done, and my weekends are mine again. I'm not stuck in my head trying to figure things out, because I tend to just spin on things until I can figure them out. And so now I can just stop and have my evenings back, and I'm stitching again, and I'm super happy about it. So this one, sorry, see, dog collar shaking? You just heard it. I know you did. I don't have noise suppression on this, so you're gonna hear it probably really loud. Where did my stats go? What was I gonna do? I was gonna look for stats, wasn't I? No? See, I totally forget what I was gonna do already. Anyway, well, I don't know. What was I gonna do? Honestly, people, honestly. It's gone just like that. You know how this feels. I know, you watching, you've gone through this where you just cannot remember anything, brain short circuit. How am I even successful at work? Because I can't remember what I was talking about 2 seconds ago. I want to talk about what I plan to work on this month. So it's April 1st. Elisa from East Stitching in Colorado, on the 1st of every month, she works on the Finery of Nature. She's got a stitch along, a SAL, and I think it's just Finery of Nature SAL. I'll look it up, and if I look it up, I'll put it on the screen. And I'm really tempted today to pull that one out and work on it and join the fun. So this is what it looks like. It's called Finery of Nature. And so I'm thinking I might pull that one out, even if it's just for 30 minutes, just so that I can work on it. But the problem that I have with that, here's where my brain starts to get annoyed with me, because my brain says, but it's going to take you 30 minutes just to get it out and put it on the stretcher bars or in the cute snap and blah, blah, blah. And then my brain says, oh, don't do it. Don't do it. But then my heart says, oh, but I really want to. So it's that struggle. Yeah. So I might. I'm not going to promise. Whether I do or I don't. Another one that I'm planning to work on in the next week is my Mirabilia Sabrina. And this is that one. And I'm working on this one with Suki, the Brown-Eyed Stitcher. And we started it together. And I'm doing a version of it where it has, I'm doing it with the beads. I'm putting the beads on it. And I'm doing full crosses for the skin. And Suki's doing a version of it. We have the same color fabric. It's Sprite by Picture This Plus. And she's doing a version where she's not using beads and she's substituting using the Mill Hill to DMC conversion chart on the Mill Hill website. She's converting the beads to DMC and she's doing her skin 1/1. Or yeah, 1/1. Suki, are you doing half? Are you doing like 1/1? Or are you doing 2/1 half? Anyway, she's doing the 1/1 half, whatever, or 2/1. She's doing the petite stitches for the skin. So in the end, our goal, we hope, is that we will eventually meet in person because, you know, we all want to meet up eventually, all us stitchers, right? At least those of us who can. I don't know if I'll ever make it over to Australia. There's so many of you I'd love to meet there. And so many in the UK I would love to meet. And Canada's an option because I'm going to Stitch North. So I hope I'm going to meet some of you. And I get up to Canada sometimes anyway. So I don't know, maybe we could pull it off sometime. But my goal is to, our goal is to get together and meet in person. See, I'm like losing it. Our goal is to get together and meet in person and have them side by side, or I mean, we don't have to meet in person, but it would be really cool if we did and showed them side by side, and then we would be able to take a picture and say, look, our finished pieces, and here's the differences, and to show, okay, this is the whole reason why we were doing this, is because we want to show that you don't have to use beads and Mirabilias for them to be beautiful. So for people who are very intimidated by Mirabilias and don't want to work on them because there's just so many beads in them and they don't like the beads, or they are scared of the beads, or they're just, like beads are just like no, just flat out no. We're gonna just demonstrate that you don't need beads on a Mirabilia in order for it to be beautiful. So I encourage anyone who, like I've said before, I haven't finished a lot of them, but I have a lot of them on the go and I love working on them. And so for anyone who is intimidated by beads, you shouldn't be. First of all, give it a try. But if you really know for sure you don't want to do it, do a Mirabilia anyway, and just don't do the beads. Just do DMC floss in place of it. So anyway, my reason for talking about that was to say I want to pull this out again because Stitch North is coming up, and I'm thinking this might be a good one for me to prep in advance and do a whole lot of the non-white stitching and just not do the white stitching. So then I can take it with me to Stitch North and then just fill in the white. And I don't have to look at the pattern. All I have to do is just stitch. And I've been told, many people have told me, this is what you want to do. You want to have a whole bunch of projects or a couple or whatever, projects that you've prepped ahead of time where you do all of the color and all of the stuff you have to really pay attention to and count, and then leave the big blocks of color like white, like on this dress. Like, wouldn't that be perfect to just leave the white not stitched? And then just take it with me and just fill in the white. So that's my plan, is to work on that a little bit this month. Because Stitch North is coming. Like, what is it, 5 weeks? 5 weeks? I think so. So that's one that I want to work on. And tomorrow is the second day of the month. And on the second day of the month, I have a stitch along with Mama Carmen 2. She's Mama Carmen 2 on Instagram. And she is, for the life of me, I can't remember. I'm so sorry. Why do I always forget your, I'm sorry, Carmen. Why do I always forget your YouTube handle? I'll put it on the screen because I can't, I'm just not there today. Anyway, so we have a stitch along and we work on Beloved. she's working on, she started it before I did, but then when I saw that she was working on it, I said, hey, we should do a stitch along because I really want to do that. So I bought of course, the super size max color version. I don't know, is it max color or is it just like expanded color? I don't know. It's whatever the biggest version, the super size, and the most colors that you can get out on Heaven and Earth, at least at the time. I don't know if there's other versions since then, but that's what I did. And there's 47 colors. For a monochrome, I think that's a lot of colors for a monochrome piece, right? So my plan is to pull that one out tomorrow because it's the second day of the month. And I'm going to work on that. I don't know how much stitching I'm going to get in though, because my husband won tickets to the Blues hockey game tomorrow afternoon. So we're going to go to the Blues hockey game tomorrow afternoon. So, and with church in the morning. And so, I don't know. I should be able to fit in some stitching time. I just don't know how much I'm going to get accomplished. In the evening, I'll probably be able to get some done in the evening. So those 3 projects that I just showed you, the Finery of Nature, Sabrina, and Beloved are what I'm hoping to work on this week coming up. Or if not, well, Beloved is tomorrow. Finery of Nature would be today. If I don't do either of those today and tomorrow, I probably won't later in the month, but I am going to work on Sabrina for sure. And I have a couple of other spring ones that have been calling to me that I think I want to work on. And of course I'm going to work on Red's Resting Place, but I started sorting through my patterns a little differently. They're still stored the same. Like I have my Dimensions kits all stored together. I have my Fancy Ladies all stored together, like Mirabilias and Nora Corbett's and Told in a Garden, Lavender and Lace. All the Fancy Lady ones are stored together. I have my full coverage all stored together. So I have them stored together, but what's nice about these little magnets is I can now kind of like sort through them and sort them differently than I have them stored, just to add that other dimension to my brain of like, what do I want to work on coming up? And so I've separated out all my magnets now into like 5 categories. One of them only has 2 in it. I did one that was more like fall and Halloween themed, so I have my Stitch an Inch Fall, which is actually almost 60% done. Why don't I just finish that one? I don't finish that one because it's not fall, you know, and sometimes, I don't know, I don't feel like working on things out of season. Sometimes I do, I don't know. And the other one is Witch on Broom, which I loved because I don't really have a Halloween piece. I'm not really a Halloween person, but I kind of like this one. I love the artist, Vincent Fleming. His art is so beautiful. But now I'm kind of like, I wish I had started a different one of his, which incidentally I did. I have another one on the go by him too, but that's a whole other saga, which I'll get into another day. Like the pattern, Heaven and Earth pattern changed and they sent a new version. I was already in progress and blah, blah, blah. But I'm not sure about Witch on Broom. Definitely don't want to work on it except around Halloween, so October stitching or whatever. So that's a category that only has 2 in it, but I do break them off from the other ones. And the other categories that I have are still my Fancy Ladies or people. And what I mean by that is it's not just my Mirabilia and Lavender and Lace type Fancy Ladies, which I love, but I'm also including other ladies like Merida, which is a full coverage Tilton pattern. And I'm including Fly Me to the Moon, which is another Heaven and Earth design full coverage. And I know her name, but it's not coming to me. I'll put it on the screen. The artist. So there's that one. So she's a fancy lady, in my opinion. This is kind of a fancy lady. Ex Machina. She's kind of like, she's a lady. And she's fancy. She got her little robot there. See, I like robots. I think robots are funny. I think they're cool. And this one doesn't look mean. It looks like she's like got a pretty good, it's not like Terminator or anything. I don't like Terminator. But this one looks really cool to work on. But it's also, she's a lady, so why not put her in the ladies category? So I'm kind of changing a little bit about how I organize my ladies. And then I have another category that's just purely winter, like winter and Christmas, because those ones I really don't feel like working on right now. So that would be like my Randall Spanglers. I've got Home is Where the Magic Is. And Oh Kitten Tree, which I really want to get back to because I haven't worked on this one in years, literally years, but I love it. It's my very first Heaven and Earth design. But I'm also including, so this is kind of, it's winter and Christmas because this is a winter one. It's a Dimensions Gold Collection. And I have Alan Malay, I don't know how to say his name, Malay, anyway, A Gracious Era. So that's a nice, beautiful winter one, Dimensions kit. So I have all these Dimension kits and, of course, my favorite, my Santa stamp, which I really want to finish at some point. But I also have the toy box. That one's in there. So anything that's Christmas or winter or has snow in it, I put into another category because we're spring now. And I think I'm going to put a hold on these ones and not really think about working on them. The next category is nature and Native American and like nature animals. I don't know why I guess anything that's kind of like outdoor animal. Anyway, you'll see. I'll show you a couple. So I've got like my Birds and Blooms, Amy Stewart, which I was inspired from Elisa from eCrafting in Colorado, and several other people that are working on. There's two versions of this. There's Birds and Blooms Garden, and then there's another bird garden, I think. And so Jemima the Rocking Stitcher, for example, she's working on the other version of this. And James the PH Stitcher is working on the other version of this. Elisa finished hers. If you have not seen Birds and Blooms completed on Elisa's channel, E_crafting in Colorado, go look at her videos. She has this completely finished, and it wasn't that long ago. It was in the last, was it 2-3 months, Elisa? So that's one of my nature ones. And then I've got, this is it's not a mini, but it's a smaller Heaven and Earth design, Moon Hair, and I was inspired from Kim Hollenbach on this one. She finished this one, and I look at the spring colors in that. Look at that. So it's kind of spring, but it's nature. It has an animal. So it's been calling to me. All these ones that are like the nature ones have all been calling to me lately because they're like the ones that I've got on the go are colorful, and I've got chickadees and lilacs in there. This one's been calling to me because it's spring. And let's see. Other ones. So some of the other ones that I have in this category are Becoming Brave. Such a cute little, oh, just gorgeous. I love that one. And then Comanche is another one that I had started with the Budget Stitcher. Her channel used to be Joss Holm, and then she's, her channel now is the Budget Stitcher. So Joss and I have started that one together. And mostly Dimensions kits. That I don't need to show you all of them, I guess. Oh, I will show you a couple more. So Gift of the Eagle Feather, I love that one. That's a Dimensions kit that I started last year. And Thunder Ridge is another one that I started this one in 2009, I think. Back when I had issues with my eyes, I was just hoping and praying that I would be able to work on cross stitch again someday. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of hope that my vision issues would be resolved, but they were. I found the right person to help me. I went to the specialist, and now my eyes are totally fine. So anyway, I love the Thunder Ridge one. That's another Dimensions. And anyway, the rest are all in here, but I'm not going to go through them all. If you want to see all of my stuff, go watch my whip parade video, the last one. I did all of my whips, everything that I have on the go, every single one, and I did it very quickly. So if you're someone who likes just like show it to me, hold it for a couple seconds, move on to the next one, and then show me the next one. I don't do a lot of talking in that video. I've had people ask me or tell me that they wish that I had been more talkative and talked about each project individually. Well, I had done a video where I did that, where I had done the chatty version, and it was over 3 hours long, and my internet at the time was really bad, and I wasn't able to I was like, I could barely upload a 30-minute video in under 12 hours. So we have since switched our internet, and I can upload videos. I can do an hour-long video in like 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my goodness. I had no idea internet could be that beautiful. But I don't have that video anymore where I did the chatty version that was 3 hours long. But I've had some of you ask or say that they wish that I had posted that one and that there was a longer version of one. So I might do some longer videos coming up where I talk more about my whips, or maybe about some of my kitted up stuff. I don't think I've ever shown you my stuff that's just kitted up. I've shown you kits. I've shown you my dimensions kits. I've shown you, I don't think I've shown you all my fancy ladies that I'm kitting up. Like, I literally have like 30 bags here next to me that are in various stages of being kitted up. And then I have another probably 12 to 15 that are fully kitted and ready to go. But I already have so many on the go. Like, why? I shouldn't start another one. I shouldn't start anything else ever in my life. I should just finish what I'm doing. But I'm a process stitcher. I just like working on what I want to work on. And I do want to see progress, and I do want to see things get done. Like, I want to see my Beauty and the Beast get done. Like, that's hands down something I want to see get done. Whether it's this year, next year, whatever, it's going to get done. But I haven't shown you a lot of my other stuff. I have a bunch of kits that I've never shown you. Because they're not, I only showed you my Dimensions and Dimensions Gold Collection and Dimensions Petites. I've only shown you those. I haven't shown you some other ones. Like my Elsa Williams. Oh my goodness. Let me show you my Elsa Williams kit that has been calling. And it's weird because this is a winter theme one. And it's been calling to me, like, to start it. So what I might do is put the brakes on and just say, no, I'm not starting it right now because it's out of season. And maybe what I'll do is start it in the, like, at the beginning of winter. Maybe I'll make that a winter start, like in December or January, maybe a New Year start. But let me show it to you. It's gorgeous. Yes, and the fact that I know exactly where every single kit is in here is, but I can't remember what I said to, like, literally 5 seconds ago. That's a thing. Like, everything's organized here. Like, I know exactly, like, where everything is. Like, I can just grab. But it's the short-term memory. It's the short-term memory. I'm at a loss. So this is, it's so funny because I'm looking at the original price on it was like $20 or something. And I don't know if you can find this anymore, quite honestly. I'm going to take it out of the, very quietly, hopefully. It's a kit that has everything in it. And it's called Sunday Morning Memories Bell Pull. Turn it on an angle so you can at least see part of it. Is that not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen? I am so in love with this kit. So the reason that I even knew about this kit was because my mom's friend stitched this for her and gave it to for my mom and gave it to her when I was in high school. And my mom had it hanging in her house for years. It's not currently where she and my dad were living currently. It's not hanging on the wall. So I don't know where it is. They've moved several times. I'm pretty sure she has it. It just wasn't hanging up. But I bought the kit years ago thinking, well, my mom has one. I would love to stitch one and have one too and hang it on my wall. So I'm kind of torn a little bit. Like I said, it's calling to me, but it's calling to me probably because my mom had it. And it's very, you know, in my heart right now. But should I just not stitch it and just never stitch it and just maybe ask my dad if I can have the one my mom had? But I don't know. I'm not sure what to do because my mom didn't stitch it, the one that she has at her house. My mom didn't stitch it. So the value of it was just that I saw it there. if she had stitched it herself, that would be something I would absolutely want. But the fact that her friend stitched it for her is so beautiful. Like, I don't know. Anyway, if you have an opinion, if you have thoughts on it, what should I do? Should I stitch it myself? Maybe my brother would want the one that my mom already has, and then I would stitch one, and then me and my brother would each have one. That would be... Obviously, I want to stitch it. So, yeah. Okay, anyway, let me know what you think. So that's one of my kits that I have that I don't think I've shown you before. I've had that one for quite a long time, but it's open. Obviously, I opened it because I have a hard time getting a kit and then like not opening and looking through and seeing everything. Yeah. So if I ever like were to resell anything that I already have, it's probably already going to be open. Not the newer ones. Newer kits that I've bought, I haven't like opened them and looked through them. But I used to do that because that was kind of the fun of getting it. I didn't get kits all the time when my kids were young, because you know what it's like. You're on a budget and you just don't have the extra income, and there's just, you already feel like you have enough, so you don't buy a lot. And so I was very careful about my spending, and I would only get kits that I really wanted. And so at the time when I did get one, it was like so exciting, and I would open it and I would like, it was almost like, you know, do you ever feel like you want to just like take all your cross stitch stuff and just like throw it all and just like roll around in it and go, oh, look at all the cross stitch stuff. Yeah, it's kind of like what people, like you see those stereotypical scenes in movies where there's like all the money all over the bed and people jump on the bed and they're like rolling in the money. It's like, I could care less about money, but I would love to do that with my cross stitch stuff, but I wouldn't do that because that's icky. That's gross. I wouldn't do that. Anyway. I think I've talked enough for one video. You have an update on the very few things I worked on in March, but also there's hope. I'm going to be working on more in April. Really happy about that. And the birds are chirping more, and the sun is coming out more, and the trees are blooming here in St. Louis. And yeah, spring is a beautiful season. It's not hot yet. We had some crazy thunderstorms and storms that came through. We didn't get it really bad here yesterday and through the night last night, but the wind was just, I've rarely get woken up by wind, but the wind was shaking our house so hard that it woke me up, and I was really nervous because it was like the cracking and the creaking of the house, and the wind, you could just hear it. But there were some tornadoes that touched down Memphis and Little Rock yesterday, and some other places, and I just, it's that time of year, just where, yeah, weather events here. You know, as growing up, the weather events were always snow, and then I moved here, and the weather events are either flooding or tornadoes. So I don't think there's anywhere you can live where there's not something you're always having to deal with, right? Ice, snow, too much rain, not enough rain, drought. Yeah, well, it's not enough rain. I just said that. So anyway, I thank you again. If you've made it this far in my video, thank you for watching. I'm so happy to be part of the FlossTube community. I've met so many great friends. All of you are so special to me. I really want to thank so many of you for reaching out on my last video. I was blown away by how many people were just showing so much support and love and caring and sharing your stories with me about your moms, and really meant a lot to me. So thank you for all of the beautiful, kind comments that you left on my last video, and thanks for coming back. And I hope that as I'm starting to go to more, or not more, I'm starting to go to cross stitch retreats. My first one will be Stitch North, and then I'm going to go to Queen City Stitch Retreat, which is the Mirabilia Nora Corbett themed one in October. So I'm going to a couple this year, and I'm hoping to be able to meet more people. And I'm a little socially awkward, despite what you see in my videos. So if you're going to be at either of those retreats and I look kind of lost, like I do sometimes in my videos where I'm just kind of not sure what to say, that's my normal. So you can walk up to me and talk to me. I will try to talk to people. I will try to make an effort to talk to people, because That's hard for me. But I love it when I get to know people. Like it's that initial like meeting where I feel so I have no social graces. My mom was like, she was like queen of social grace. She was the person in the room that everybody wanted to gravitate to because she made you feel warm, like, and welcomed. And she had a way of like saying, oh well, so and so, this is so and so, and she would connect people, and then she would talk a little bit, and then they would be good, and then she'd move on and like connect other people. Like I wish I had that. I know what it's like to see it. Like I recognize that skill that people have, but I really struggle to emulate it. So, oh well. So come talk to me, and I'll talk to you if I'll try. Have a great month. I am going to try and actually film sooner than a month from now, but I'm not going to promise. But anyway, have a wonderful, however long until I see you again, or until you see me again, or either one. And bye for now. Thanks for watching.